Hello everyone. So welcome to the channel of RD Automation Learning. So in this video, I'll be telling you about the people or the candidates who are thinking that if they get absconded, will they be able to get a proper job, or what should be the next steps? What should they do if they want to get a job after being absconded? So now let us see first of all, what is the meaning of absconded? What do you mean when you say that you've got absconded, right? So absconded is nothing but when you secretly go away or you suddenly leave some particular company, okay, or you escape from some company, right? Then it is known as absconded, right? So now let me show you a quick thing how the people who get absconded should be dealing and what all things you should do in order to get a job. So there are two kinds of questions that I have been getting, right? And that is if you are absconded from a startup based company and you want to move to a big MNC company like TCS, Accenture, okay, this is your goal, okay. Then second thing is if you are absconded from a startup based company and you want to go to another startup based company itself, right? So it's entirely the same type of company, I would say, right? So you want to go from one of the startup based company to another startup based company. Now, if you are working in a startup based company and there was no any kind of a documentation done there, there was no any kind of a PF process. PF means you were not getting any kind of a provident fund. So how this PF plays a very vital role. So when you are going for a background verification, at that time the company will be asking you for a UAN number, and from that UAN number they'll come to know whether your PF account has been created, the salary was getting credited properly there or not. So in a startup based company, if you are not having any kind of a documentation, if you are not having any kind of a PF account, right, then what you should do is, and if you abscond from that particular company, so immediately at the time of interviews, when you are giving interviews in these kind of companies like TCS, Accenture, these particular MNC based companies who are very rigid about the background check, people don't even who are not able to clear the background verification BGV, they are not given the jobs, even if they have cleared all the interviews. So it becomes very vital, very important that you should be able to clear the BGV in these particular companies. Now, if you were working in a startup based company where you did not have any kind of a documentation, then you have to showcase some kind of an evidence. So in this form of evidence, you can showcase the offer letter, you can showcase the experience letter, the relieving letter, based on which you can apply in TCS or in Accenture like MNC companies, and you can ensure that you have got the proper documentation. Now, what happens in terms of absconded? So when you are absconded at that time, you won't be getting relieving letter. Neither you won't be getting the experience letter also. So at least you should be able to show the offer letter and the last month or last 3 months of bank statement, right? Or the salary slip if you get. So those kind of documentations would help you. But if you are going from one of the startup based company to another startup based company, so you're working in a startup based company, let's say XYZ, and from one of that XYZ company, you are going into the another startup based company, which is ABC, right? And you had got absconded here, right? So you can join this company. There will not be any issue because it's a startup based company. In a startup based company, the documentations, the priority to such kind of processes would be less compared to the MNC companies. So if you are working in a non-IT company, or if you are looking to switch to an IT company, you should always prefer to go to a startup based company, because there the process is not as rigid as that of an MNC company. They will not be asking you 50 plus documentations for getting your BGV cleared. In a startup based company, the process is there. Yes, of course, the BGV would be there, but they would be looking forward to have you in the company rather than having those kind of checkpoints, right? So that's why even if you are going from a non-IT to an IT, or if you're going from the, let's say, you are switching from developer role to a testing role, or maybe you're switching from a support role to a testing role, then you should prefer first of all the startup based company, because in a startup based company the staff would be limited. You would be able to learn more, you would be able to understand things in a much better way, and then you would be able to grow over there. So such are the scenarios in case of absconded. Now there is also one more scenario that I would discuss. Let's say you were working in a startup based company and you are looking forward to join these kind of MNC companies. And it's the same thing of absconding, right? But but you haven't shown all those documentations, or you haven't informed the human resources or the hiring manager that I have been absconded, I have left that company midway itself, I haven't served any notice period, and you're giving interviews. But at the time of BGV, they'll come to know all these things. So it is very important that you, before you start giving all those interviews, before you start appearing for all those interviews, you should make it very crystal clear that you can write an email, or you can have this kind of conversation openly, have some transparency, that you can upfront tell them that I was working in an XYZ company, because of so and so reason I have left that company, I haven't served the notice period, and I don't have experience letter or the relieving letter. What is the max that I can do is I can provide you the salary slip of the last month, that too if you have an access of the portal, or if you have downloaded it in advance, that you can show, and the offer letter. So you should have these kind of things immediately upfront, because recently I had a conversation with one of my subscriber. She was from a startup based company. She then got absconded, she left that company in between itself, and now she got selected in an MNC company, but her BGV got failed. So these are the various reasons because of which the BGV, your background verification, might get failed. And even if your interviews are too good, even if you are able to get set into the package range that they are offering to, but if your BGV is not getting cleared because of all these kind of issues, then definitely you won't be able to get a job. So it is very important that you give priority to these kind of things. Due to this, every Wednesday, if you see, we are trying to focus on these kind of videos. We are trying to create such kind of videos so that you get more and more idea based on such things, right? So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching this video, and stay tuned for more updates.